All right, we are back for hole 7, 8, 9. Thanks for watching the first 6. We're just practicing today. Today's the practice round in the Coast to Coast tournament. Monday's practice round. Hole number 7, Juniper Point. Hole number 7. Learning a few things today. I'll be able to go back and watch the video and see some of these. Oh, I love this hole. This hole right here is definitely got serious opportunity for hole 1 on this hole. Hole number 7, I'm using a sniper. I'm using a navigator. And I'm using 1 and a sliver of topspin. And I use side spin. If I use side spin, it's just a sliver. It's a sliver here or there. Now, here's what's funny about this hole. We played this in a tournament, hammered it. Yes, baby. Huh? Buster was? This hole right here, we had this in a tournament, wasn't doing any elevation adjustment, just taking a straight up shot, pounded it. Next tournament came out here, and then all of a sudden we had to start doing an elevation adjustment. So I have no idea. If we do an elevation adjustment, it's, I think in the past we've done plus 10%. I got this hole, I think, one time in practice, and I didn't do an elevation adjustment, and I hit it great to the right and ended up just barely great to the right. So I'm not sure yet on the elevation adjustment, whether we need to do an elevation adjustment or not. I'm sure that the community is telling everybody that they need to do an elevation adjustment on this, but I want to find out in my game whether I need to do a wind elevation adjustment. So I'm just going to take the shot. We'll try it out first and see where we're at. Hopefully I can hit a perfect here so that we can, so I can go, okay, hey, dummy, you need to do an elevation adjustment. Nav. Sniper. My buddy Hammer and Hank, he calls this the no move hole. He leaves the ball right where it is when it's set up. He makes a top spin, back spin, side spin. He makes an adjustment to it and he leaves it right where it's at. I like to move it just a titch. I like to have my white rings wedged up so that they are in between, just like wedged up in there. And what I'm trying to do is trying to get right to the base of this flat area here right before it starts the upward slope. Making some notes here on my sheet. 1 and a sliver of topspin. This will be a great hole if you've got low wind balls to use low wind balls come weekend around. Now, unlike the last couple times we've played here, we are getting some headwind. 1 and a sliver. Going right at the cup. I'm going to just do a straight up wind adjustment. That's 4.5 rings. Let's just hit this perfect. Hitting it perfect. I'm going to have to do probably just a little bit more because we're going against that headwind. Probably like 1.5, and I was off to the right-hand side. So the wind is definitely pushing it off. So I'm going to do a plus 10%. And I'm going to move off of that 1 and a sliver and probably go to 1.5 topspin. And right now, I will tell you, I'm more concerned about the topspin, trying to get it up to the cup, than I am about the elevation adjustment. All right, sorry about that. Work phone was ringing, so better answer the work phone. All right, hole number 8. Where was I? Hole number 8. Hole number 8 is City Park. Hole number 2. Hole number 2. So got a little bit of work to do on this one. Definitely because we're getting that headwind. So the last 2 times we played this hole, we had wind going in this direction. Now we've got wind going in this direction. So it's definitely pushing the ball off, and it's definitely laying the ball up. So in the past where I've done the 1 and let's say a quarter, from how short it was, I'm thinking maybe 1.5 to maybe 1 3/4 topspin. And I'm based off where that ball landed, I'm gonna, next time I play this hole, I'm gonna do a 10% and see if that moves me closer to the hole. But I'm gonna be somewhere in, I'm probably gonna overdo it and do the 1 3/4 and see where that puts me, and then I can work somewhere between the 1 1/4 that I had and the 1 3/4 that I moved it up to. That way I can make adjustments based off of the wind that we're getting. That's why when you go, if you look at your notes from one tournament to the next, those notes may or may not work because of wind direction. So you kind of have to work each hole as you get to it. City Park, hole 2. City Park, hole number 2. All right. So normally what I like to do on this hole is I like to lay up right there. And that gives me a sniper coming in. And when you're looking at this green, and really when I'm out on the course and when you're out on the course, like looking, like when you land out here and it shows you the shot coming up to the cup, this is super steep over here. And then it's still steep on this side, but it's not as steep. And so normally coming in here, I don't like to come at it where I'm in this spot trying to come up straight at it. I like to move over just a little bit where I'm here and my ball is engaging it here, and then I put some side spin to bring it back to the cup, just because I think over here it gets a really irregular bounce right here because you're hitting on that second bounce is on such a steep hill. And so I find that my bounce, you still get a little bit of an irregular bounce, but it's a little more consistent from this side trying to bring it back around to the cup than it is if you're going here. And if you're on this side trying to go over, your second bounce is super close to this rough, and it's very easy to end up clipping that rough, and you're engaging more of the sand trap, where if you hit a great to the left, you put the sand trap more into play. And I'm really big on trying to take these traps the heck out of play. So if you can start off over here on the right-hand side, you take the sand trap out of play, and if you hit a great to the right or the left, your second bounce is still in a much better spot to end you up here at the green. The question here is, how greedy do you get on the drive? So when we talk about the drive shot on this, I know, everybody knows if you can get in front of this mouth and you can get out here, you're in long iron range, and if you're here, you're in wood range. So obviously, if you can get in your long iron range, you got a better shot at it. If you end up in the rough up here in these areas, if you've got a good rough iron, you can get up, because a Nirvana is a long iron. Okay, a Spitfire is a long iron. And so if you can make it from here with a long iron, you can make it from here with a Nirvana and a Spitfire. If you're back in this area and you're in the rough, you're in big trouble. I find it super easy to get right here. What I find that isn't super easy is to always get through this gap to get out into this area. I'm going to shoot more towards this area today just to kind of show you what that looks like. And here's how I do this. If you have a quarterback, let's erase all that. This rough area where it kicks out, right here. Let's start with a rock. 3 rings off. 3 rings off that transitional surface. Max curl. It only takes about 1 topspin to get you right here. If you put on all the topspin and you shoot and you can get your trajectory right, you can shoot the gap and end up right in this area. And that's 3 rings off max curl. That's if you have an upper developed rock. If you have a QB, it's about 5 rings off of this transitional surface, max curl, max left-hand side spin, and about 1 top spin, and it'll put you right out here in the middle. And I don't mind being right out here in the middle because it's very easy out here. There's a hillside right where this stuff is all kind of going, this stuff's all kind of going downhill. And so there's a hillside right here that a lot of times when you're coming through and your bounces, and you can see there's a hillside right here as well. You can hit this, and here's the trajectory of your ball. Your ball's coming down like this, and then let's say this is the hillside. Your ball's coming down, and it hits that hillside, and instead of hitting the ground and then bouncing up and going on, it hits that hillside at the same angle, and then it hits it, and instead of it bouncing off, it just slides. And then it scoots all the way across, and it's very easy to end up in the sand. Anybody who's played this hole more than 5 times knows exactly what I'm talking about here. And I mean, when it starts to slide, it slides. And it picks up speed. So it's got some gravitational force out here that's sucking it out, and it's making it go even faster. And it will very easily end you up in the rough or the sand here, which is bad, like really bad. Did I mention it was really bad? So let's see. I'm going to just do... Oh, we're timed out. I think I'll do this with my... Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Use a rock, or you could use a QB. And depending on what level rock or QB you have, you're going to have to find the spot out there. But this is a pure setup shot, and the whole deal is you want to find where that spot is, so that the next time you come to this hole, you go right to that spot, and you set it up, and it's bam, it's right in the same spot. The next time you get on this hole, you go back to that spot, set it up, bam, you're in the same spot. I see a lot of people here, they're always searching. And so that means every time you come on this hole, you're doing something a little bit different, and your results are going to be a little bit different every time. We want to try and standardize this so that it's just a setup shot. I'll bring a QB just to show you what it looks like. Let's bring a QB. Sniper. Grizzly. We'll bring an accurate back. This is definitely best done with a 3 side spin ball. All right. I'll bring the lucky ball. We'll see. We'll see if I feel lucky. Now, I think it's been a long time since I took this with my QB. I think it's about 5 rings off of that surface that I was showing you out there. We'll find out right now. So I want to be about 5 rings off of that surface out there. I'm going to do 4 rings off. That might not be enough. I may regret having done 4 instead of 5. Max curl. Hit 1 ring grade on the outside. Just right down the middle. You can see from that trajectory right there, if I would have hit it, if I would have put all the topspin on it, I would have been going right towards that mouth to kind of go through. I definitely think the 4 with that level quarterback was probably closer to right. I think if I'd hit that perfect, I would have just barely eked through there, and if I'd hit it great to the right, I might have got caught up. So maybe 3.5. And if you hit it and you can get through there, you're out there a mile. And they will definitely be able to get on from there, even though they're in the rough. Definitely be able to get on from there. You can see from here or over here, this I like being a little bit farther to the right. And I find the ball does run out a little bit farther than you think it will. I want to be right on the edge of that side of the cup. 2-6. Hitting it perfect. And that's where that irregular bounce comes in. And the way the wind was blowing there. But I did a 10% wind adjustment. That might have put me a little bit closer. It's hard to tell, though, because of that irregular bounce. Getting way up where my opponent's at, or getting way up into this fairway, gives you a better opportunity to start up at the top of the hill on the fringe and be able to bring yourself to the cup. Because when you're hitting back there with your wood, you're having to hit off of the island, or excuse me, you're having to bounce over. Now look how steep that hill is. Super steep. Super close. Let my opponent get the wind. In the hole. So I still haven't, I shot that hole in practice where I was using my rock and I was using max topspin. And if you were 3 rings off that transitional surface out there where the rough kicks out, I was able to shoot the gap. And I wasn't up there as far as my opponent, but I was definitely into my long iron range. I still had to do the bounce over instead of being able to just engage the green. But it might not be a bad idea right there. You could bring a guardian. If you didn't like bouncing it over, you could bring a guardian. If you get up in there, you may be able to just start off on the green and not have to do the bounce over. So there's several different ways that you can go with that. You need to work that for the clubs that you have in your bag. The best way, if you're having, especially if you've got lower developed clubs, the best way is to just lay yourself up out in the middle of this area. You can easily get on with a wood. You can do the bounce over. If you've got some lower developed woods, I know that the big dog doesn't have really good ball guide, but it does not take a lot of movement here to get yourself up on the green. But it's very easy to overshoot this. The ball guide is lying just a little bit. So if you run your ball guide all the way to the hole, you will end up going past it. So just be aware of that. But this is going to be a par 4 right here that's going to eat a lot of people's lunch. There's going to be a lot more people who end up with par here than are going to end up with eagle. So don't be in that group. All right, hole number 9. Hole number 9. What is hole number 9? City Park, hole 6. And I'm still, okay, so here's the thing. Let's talk about this hole. In the past, when this hole first came out, I was playing this from the expertise. And I can tell you that I don't know how many times I got caught up right here trying to get out here. So if you're hitting from the back tees, it's it's easy to get caught up in this. You come out with the best of intentions and you think, wow, it's just going to bounce off that thing and it'll roll through there, no problem. But it's at the very end of the run. And it made me very gun shy of hitting this shot just because of my experience and expert. In rookie, it's a little bit different. So a lot of in the past, I've hit over here, and that forces you to have to hit here with a big dog. Have to hit down at the bottom, bounce it up, and I end up right in this area right here with a nice short chip and get your eagle and move on down the road. It's a very eagleable hole if you take that shot from right there. But I never really liked this drive because everything on the drive wants to go in this direction, and you're trying to get it into this mouth, and it's really hard to get around the bend to try and get in there. It's almost impossible unless you clip the rough and roll out there, which is just as bad as trying to clip the rough over here. If you've got good recovery clubs and you come through here and you overshoot it and you end up in the rough out here, you got a nice shot with your Nirvana to get up. You can actually take the shot right in front of the sand and bounce over, and you can recover very nicely. So there's not really a downside in taking this shot right here if you end up in the rough, unless you end up in the rough right here. Because from here, you can't get on. Even trying to take the upper shot, it's very difficult. I tried during the practice session. I hit this drive like 3 times and epic failed it. And then I finally got up here where I brought the right, I switched one of my bags and I brought the right stuff. I brought the right ball. I ended up on that tip about as far as you could possibly end up on that tip without being in the rough and starting to roll down the hill, and had a guardian. And where it put me in my club, so I was in this area right here, and where it put me, my red line was like right in this area with a guardian. And I put on about 2.5 topspin, and it was lying to me, and it rolled over. So it doesn't take so if you have a guardian, it doesn't take a lot of topspin to get yourself out here in the front. And the truth of the matter is that going from here and trying to get up, I see that as being like super low chance of getting an albie, but you can get an eagle that way. I think really the most legitimate way of trying to get an albie is to try and get down in here and either do the second bounce rough bump or just try and clear it completely. But if you clear it completely, what'll end up happening is you're more than likely going to end up in the rough. Consistency wise, I hate going, oh yeah, we're going to hit this shot and hope that we can get through the rough. But you take hole number 3 as an example. We're doing that rough shot in hole number 3, but it's not going to matter. Because if you're in the rough, you can still move forward and you can still get up there. We don't want to be off of this green trying to shoot it up to get our eagle. We want to be up here, preferably right here or on the green going for eagle. We don't want to have to be chipping it up in there. This is a difficult hole to get to if you're out here in front in the flat. And while I like this shot up here, it didn't look as good as I was hoping it would look. I really think one of the things that's different that I have in my bag now than in the past when we played this is I have an extra mile 9, so it will be a lot easier to get down into this area. But I know not everybody has an extra mile 9, and if you've got lower developed clubs, it's going to be hard to get. It may be hard to get down into this area. So I'm gonna demo this shot up here at the top, just so that we can take a good look at it here and try and bring the right stuff. And let's see how bad it sucks. And if I overshoot it, I think I was using an Apocalypse when I got there, and I think I had about 2.5 topspin on it. So let's compare distance. Like if we use the QB versus an APOC as far as distance goes, we're quite a bit shy. I think with a QB, you could probably put on all that topspin. I'm going to use a QB. Let's try it out with a QB just so I can demo it with a QB. And I really want to come at it You know, if you were just trying to get the eagle here, or not the eagle, but yeah, just trying to get the eagle here. If you can get up there far enough, I really believe that a guardian will get the job done. And you've got better ball guide than you do with a big dog. But you have a lot more, if you're back a little bit further, you have a lot better options with your big dog because you have topspin at your disposal. Let's think about this. Let's put our thinking cap on here. I'm going to bring a guardian just because I really want to see what that. I really think that we can get it done with a guardian. Bring a Titan just in case I have to use the wind. And we'll try the shot. I'm gonna try that shot from the top of the hill. This may be the last time I try it. And I will tell you that it's not getting up to the top of that hill and just laying it up the top of that hill. You got to get every single bit of it, and that's the problem. Yeah, let's go look at that hole one time. You really got to get it all in order to be in the right spot up here with a guardian. But I want to at least give you guys the look at it so you can see what that is. I'm going to bring a big dog because that way I don't have to push the limit to get up into that area. And I'm not saying that this is the best way to go at it. I think the best way to go at it is if you can get down there on the bottom. That's probably the best way to go at it, even if you overshoot the bottom. But just giving you guys another way of at least another option of at least trying to utilize maybe your clubs in a better way. Because that shot to the left on the drive is rough. And it is super easy to end up in trouble on that drive. And if you end up in trouble on that drive, you're screwed. If you end up in trouble on this drive I'm going to do right here at the top of the hill, you're screwed. If you overshoot the one where you're trying to bounce down to the lower section, you can recover from that. It's 4-4. I'm going to do a little bit of an overpull. I don't like that area where I have to do the wind adjustment. Isn't it perfect? We'll see how 4 topspin fares. It looked like I could have put a little bit more on there. No, that was about all you want to put on there. And that's 340 right there at that 340 range. That's about the best that you can hope for. I mean, there's maybe a couple yards farther you could get there, but that's about as good as it gets. And they're doing the straightforward shot. And I will tell you that I will use a 3 Powerball if I go down there to the bottom for no other reason than if I get caught up in the rough, why wouldn't you want to have a 3 Powerball? Now you can do this bounce up from here, or you can come at it from this side. The problem is here, as I've been putting on, it's hard to tell. I'm going to put on just one topspin. The ball wants to slide. It's 1.8 per ring. Do about a ring and a half. I'm going to put some curl on to bring it back to the cup. There's max curl. I'm going to do max. Let's just see what that looks like. Hit 1 ring grade on the inside, which is the worst side to hit that on. Whew, just missed that sand. And it doesn't take, I don't know that I would use any more than one topspin, because even if it left me short of the green up there, it's a fairly easy chip with a Firefly or a Rapier. If you're off in this area right here, it's a really easy chip. Because in the past, I've come at it from when I drove to the left, I'd have to bounce off the lower island, but I couldn't clear the sand. So I would just lay it up over there to the right. What I didn't like on that was how close that was too much curl, and hitting it great to the left put me way too close to that sand. So maybe 3/4 curl. Now I'll make this one and we will go to a shootout, because I have tanked my round enough that I can go to one shootout. Maybe we'll get the second par 3, which is the second par 3, hole number 5. That's the hole I'm still haven't figured out how I want to play that hole. Hole number 9. So that's one way that you can go at it to get the eagle. I'm not necessarily convinced that that's the best way to go at it, but that is a way to go at it. And I'm still working this hole, and this ball is not going to be as helpful. And one-on-one going down the hill is definitely going to put you closer to the cup, because everything kind of funnels towards it. I'm going to take the shot I'm taking in the tournament, but I can tell you, if you hit this shot great to the left, you're screwed. Three seven. I'm going to do a 10% pull, so that's going to be 4-1. Oh, 2 rings great to the right. In the hole. And what's funny there is that if I'd hit that perfect, it would have been on a similar trajectory, because it engaged that hill. And even though I hit it great to the right, it engaged the hill and it moves it back to the left. So that's the thing about that hole, is I know that shot, I know I hit that shot great to the right. And you would think, wow, you hit it great to the right and it went in the hole. There was some bad setup there. But the only reason it was able to drop back down to the left and get in the hole is because it engaged that hill. So I'm going to continue to work that shot going straight at it, as opposed to utilizing the hill. But we'll see as the week goes on. All right, that was Monday's practice round in my odd account. Let's make sure. Hopefully some people will move up the scale there. Yeah. I should easily get knocked out. Let's see what's up at the top. So minus 13 up at the top. Minus 11 really is because of the 1 par 5 being a difficult hole to eagle. Minus 11 really is the minimum score, but there's lots of opportunities to pick shots up on this course. And so anything better, I really think, even though minus 11, technically, we always want to start off in any of these Golf Clash courses at minus 12 is the minimum. We do have a very difficult par 5 here on hole number 3. which could potentially drop that down to minus 11. But we really want to focus on this being our minimum score and really focus on trying to get that par three. And that par three is all going to be dependent on wind this week, because we're either going to be able to get on into if you bring out a power five ball, or you're going to have a long shot coming in. But minus 11 really is the minimum. But we want to try and achieve this minus 12 as our minimum score, and then build upon that minus 12 by trying to sink some of these other shots. I don't see the last few tournaments, we've been pretty much minus 30 plus in the weekend round as far as like winning scores. You could have as low as a minus 28 and win a bracket, and you could have a 30 and come in fifth. In my odd account in the last tournament, you could shoot a 30 and you could come in 12th. So it's just going to depend on the bracket that you're in. But I don't know that this tournament we're going to see so many low scores in this minus 30 range. We are going to see them. There's just no doubt about it. But I think like winning score, if you're in the minus 14 per side, I think, we could see as low as maybe minus 26s getting some brackets. But I think minus 28 is where we really want to try and work for. And then minus 28 plus in the weekend round. And that's going to put you at least in a position to get a banner. We'll have to see how this plays out as the week goes on, how people are playing on these. But try and focus on the minus 12 at the beginning of the week. That should be our minimum. So if we can go in with a minus 12, minus 24 into the weekend round, that's going to put us pretty good in tiebreakers. We'll have to see where it goes from there. All right. That was the Monday practice round of the Coast to Coast tournament. Thanks for watching.